Hey everyone, welcome to the Go Green podcast. It is Saturday, December 7th, 2024, and we are here in Cabo Loom, Tulum, Mexico with my dear friend Matthew Crowther and Jonathan Brunasso. Super excited to jump into this conversation today and add some value. We're going to get into leadership, growth, development, talk about a really cool incentive trip that we're going to be hosting in the next year, and ask some questions about each of these professional solar business. So I'm excited to jump in and kick us off. So first of all, gentlemen, let's share with the audience, what are we doing here in Cabo Loom?
Hi. So, yeah, this has been a amazing retreat. We have gone deep. We are essentially doing a mastermind out here, helping people to better understand what Cabo Loom is about, what this property is really doing in the world, and how we can help people to better themselves, to better their business, and to really be a part of a bigger mission in the world, which is to raise global consciousness and to help people at a deeper level to connect more with their higher purpose and their higher visions.
Yeah, and we've had an amazing past couple days, and I'll kick us off and just share, some of the takeaways and things that I've experienced with you guys, and then maybe we'll go around and just share some of our experiences. So, yeah, we got here just a couple short days ago. Feels like it's been much longer. And Matt, you led an awesome, workshop where we got to look at our vision and, really what drives us beyond just the money. All three of us at this table have done pretty well in the solar industry, earned some pretty big commissions, set some big records. And I think all of us would agree that there's more. We want more, and not more money, but more experiences, more events like this. I know when I got here, I didn't really know what to expect. It was kind of a little uncertain, like these things sometimes are, and you just show up and see what kind of magic happens. And
I had no idea.
right,
I didn't know what to expect.
yeah, it was just like, all right, let's do it. Matt convinced me. I'm like, there, has an amazing way of doing that, and he was like, dude, you got to be here. So I ended up doing it, and JB and said, hey man, you got to come. And he said, all right, I'm in if you're in. And here we are. And I'll just share one takeaway. So some of the vision for Go Green, and for those of you who don't know, Go Green is our enterprise on power, and what I want to bring to the industry and really to individuals who are on our team, maybe who are thinking about joining our team, is this vision of elevating, the individual. I hear a lot of solar organizations talking about really, celebrating their reps, treating them like, athletes, rock stars, whatever verbiage they use. And I think that's awesome. And one of the things that I see is, companies really elevating their corporate brand over the individual's, seller rep brand. And I kind of want to flip the script. So that's one of the things I'm excited about doing with Go Green. And I got to deepen that vision with some of the work that you facilitated, Matt. So thank you for helping that. And anyways, that was one takeaway. And JB, how about you? What did you take away?
Yeah, like you, John, I didn't know what to expect. I just got an invitation to Tulum, thanks to Matt here. And guys, I'll tell you, we're having the blast in Tulum. We're in the jungle. We're doing yoga. We went and had dinner in a special magical cenote. We got to swim in cenotes today. I mean, I don't want to give away the farm here, but it's a magical place. We're in a jungle, forest-esque, with a good energy, and it allows you to disconnect quickly, like we were talking about. Sometimes you go on trips and it takes a day or two to disconnect. And here it's like you just drop in, you're relaxed, you turn off work, and creative mind kicks in. So, I mean, combined with the workshops and the purpose and the mission, a lot of the things that we integrate into our business and things that we stand for, it's been a great 2 days.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
We still have half a more day.
Feels like 4 days.
How about you, Matt?
Yeah. So one of the things that has always been very close to my heart has been transformation and transformational events. I've spent a small fortune on Tony Robbins and coaching and, a lot of different events that have been signature experiences, but also events that have really helped me to ask hard questions for myself, ask questions about who I am, where I'm going, what's important to me. And, I've always been a high achiever in solar, top rep, stuff like that. And the past 4 years, I really had a little bit of a wake-up call. And I had a very big year in 2019, one of my biggest years in solar, did 95 installs that year, all self-gen, mostly referrals, like 80 to 90% referral base that year, made a lot of money that year, and still had a little bit of emptiness because the rest of my life wasn't in alignment. The rest of my life was a little bit unbalanced. And so I really started doing some deep work in the end of 2019 and beginning of 2020 when, this pandemic happened with COVID. And so we had radical shifts in business and how we did things. And so it became a really big moment for me where I was able to reassess everything in my life. And it ended up, changing my partner who I was with. I ended up meeting my soulmate soon after that. And a lot of growth came from asking those questions about who am I, where am I going, and what really matters. And one of the things that's so important to me is helping other people find their vision, find their purpose, find what their magic is that they can bring into the world. And the reason why I'm a part of this project here in Tulum is because this whole thing was built around transformation. It was built around transformational events and purpose-driven events where people could go deeper into their vision, into their purpose, and really get some clarity on that. And masterminds, all of this is very hot right now, and it's very popular because people are wanting to go deeper and go inward. And our organization, our business, what we really want to bring to the world, I believe, which is why there's so much alignment here, is that we want to really help people become the best versions of themselves. And for people that are watching this, that are looking for more and that are looking for leaders that can help them find more, that's, I think, really the invitation here. And really the call to action is like, if you're on a growth path, if you're on a journey of transformation, this is a place for you, because that is really, I would say, the ethos of what we're doing and the center of everything that we're about.
I love it. You said that so succinctly. Yeah. Me and you have been on a Tony Robbins event. I know you kind of referenced that Date with Destiny event you did. I've also spent a small fortune. I think we have that in common. I think JB's been too busy investing in assets and getting rich. So
Too many houses. Sign me up.
just playing. But no, yeah, it's like that's what we all three care about, though, is developing, becoming better versions of ourselves. But really, selfishly, the more enjoyable experience is getting to see the impact on our teams, the people that we lead, our families. That's really where that impact comes in. And, this signature experience that you've helped facilitate, Matt, on this, this just past couple days, I think has both me and, Brunasso here really thinking and our wheels spinning about how can we bring these experiences to more of our team and facilitate that kind of change in the world that we want to see. So maybe just say a little bit more about, what is the vision of, this property here in Kabalum, but really beyond that, like just, share kind of what does that look like?
Yeah, so the vision is to create transformational events for people that they can show up and not have to really worry about everything else. This property is especially for retreat hosts. It's for people that want to have a very easy white glove experience, that they just show up and do their thing and lead their event. and they don't have to worry about when lunch is and what the excursion is the next day, and all of those things that go into running an event. Having everything cohesively unified into just one package is really what we specialize in. And this property is very near and dear to my heart because I had, some deep visions around wanting to be involved in building retreats, in helping people find spaces for growth, spaces for leaders, spaces where they could really show up as their best self. And I was in Costa Rica in 2018, and I was at one of these mastermind events with very close friends of mine, and that really opened up my eyes to this desire to want to help other people and to lead events and to help facilitate change and growth in people's lives. And so the past 2 years I've been involved in this project and am very excited about where this is all going in the next several years with the future of this and other properties and just kind of the path that this is headed right now. But with solar specifically, I think that solar needs more depth, right? Like I talk to a lot of people in solar that make a lot of money, and then they go buy a nice car and, a couple other things that are flashy or whatever, and then they don't really have a lot to show for it at the end of the year. Whereas with what we're doing, I want to help people to get an additional layer of depth in their life, where they can start investing, where they can start really making their money work for them, and also where they can start doing those growth events and growth experiences that change their life. I remember with that Costa Rica trip, I joined that mastermind a year before that, and I had made good money that year in 2017, but it was a big shift for me that I was going into. I spent it was $40,000 on that mastermind for that year, which I could not afford at that moment. And the next 12 months, I tripled my income because of the layers of growth and development that I went through in that year, with the events that I attended, with the mastermind community that I was a part of, with the leaders that I was working with. And so that's really what I'm excited about, is giving people a space to do that here, but also giving people a space to do that in our solar organization. So that it's like our solar organization supports growth and personal development at a deep core level. And because of that, I just think that people are going to feel that, and they're going to be able to grow and better themselves and really get to the next level in their life, not just in their business, but in all areas of their life.
I love it. And I think without getting too into specifics or nitty gritty, or kind of creating that maybe vulnerable space that it takes to do this type of work, right? It's like, this format's obviously just to share kind of that high level, maybe more surface level, but we'd probably all agree here as leaders, leadership is kind of dirty work. It's difficult, it's challenging, there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that, we experience, but being a part of a community of other leaders who have that aspiration to be leaders as well, and are not just in it for, again, the surface, the show, the quick money, the fast cars, the things like that, and, we always say, JB, with our culture, that the people who don't align with our culture will see their way out, right?
Exactly.
And so it's kind of a filtration mechanism. The people who are committed to that deeper growth, we will attract our tribe, as we say, and those type of people that we want to bring in. And that's really, even just to kind of, frame what we're talking about, that's really the core of it. You said it really well, Matt, that the growth and going deeper, and that going deeper sometimes requires us to go into those shadows, those uncomfortable places, those places that we don't share with maybe our teams. And again, we're not really here to share that and facilitate that on this podcast, but just know that those are the types of things that we are about when it comes to doing this intimate, close work, these retreats. These are the spaces that it sometimes takes getting into a different environment to be able to go a little bit deeper, right? Sometimes just doing it in the day-to-day and the business life. Yeah, we talk about growth and metrics and tracking and accountability and those types of things. But those are really kind of surface level, and that's necessary for business. But for those who really want to go deeper and are committed to deeper growth, it sometimes requires getting into uncomfortable spaces, new environments. Like the theme here, all of us, except for maybe Matt, was a little more certain. We didn't know what we were walking into. And that took a little bit of courage, right, to step into that. And so, the invitation for anyone listening is, look for that opportunity to have some courage to step into something that's a little uncomfortable. And as sales professionals, as leaders, really anybody who's listening is probably in that category, I would say. You're taking a risk at some level every single day, right? As you said, Matt, like we have more rejection in a week in our job than most people experience in their entire lives. Whether it's door-to-door sales or phone sales in general, there's a certain level of courage. But I also experience the same thing, Matt, is that where people, they have the courage to maybe, approach a person, have a conversation, and go kind of outward and be courageous outward. The invitation is to actually be courageous to go inward, which is a different type of courage, right? And so kind of capping this part off, unless you wanted to add to that.
Yeah, I want to add a little, John.
Yeah.
And I highly agree that growth occurs in the discomfort and taking risks and going outside of your comfort box. But, just hearing you guys speak, it's just a testament to the great leadership that we have in the industry, at our company, in your enterprise, what we stand for. If you want to make money, it's not always about what company, how much they're paying per kilowatt, how much their red line is. You want to align with the right leaders, because it's who you work with that can give you the biggest income. And the fact that we do philanthropy, come to Tulum, do masterminds, work on ourselves. We do it with health, wellness, flow states, breath work. We give back in philanthropy impact journeys and trips. I think that we're going to attract our tribe and find the others. And if that's attractive to you, then just reach out to the leaders right here.
I love it. Yeah. And that's why I'm so excited to be partnering with all three of you this year in 2025. We've been, coming together in 2024, but now I feel like we're synced up more than we've ever been. And we're just heading into 2025 with that much more momentum. And so with that said, I'm really excited to announce to everybody listening what we're calling the Power Enterprise Leadership Summit here in Tulum, Cabo Tulum in 2026. So details are to be determined. We don't have the exact specifics, but it's going to be an incentive qualification trip. So based upon your performance in 2025. So if you're in the Power organization, specifically on an enterprise, we're going to be focusing on enterprise at this moment in time. Then we're going to be giving more details, launching some footage from this trip, and really hopefully getting you guys excited about what's possible for you and your leadership and your next level. So excited for that.
And I've traveled a lot, and this is a very special trip. I want to say that we were talking about that, Matt. Like, we are very well traveled, but guys, you want to definitely come to Tulum. So I'm pumped about that 2026 trip, John.
Yes, thank you. How about you, Matt? Yeah.
I did want to add something. So, without going into too much detail, people that know me know that I'm a huge dreamer. That is like something that I've always spoken about and trained on. And I had a big dream back in 2010 is when this dream came into the world. And that dream was to visit 100 countries. And I'm 36 years old. I've traveled to 47 countries so far. So I'm on the path. I'm working towards this big goal. And I will tell you, the experience here at this event, and even what you just experienced the past 2 days, it is a world-class experience. Having traveled a lot, this is one of my favorite places ever, and this event in 2026 will blow your minds. I promise you that.
I love it. All right, so that was awesome. Got to go deep into growth and what we see here for this project, and the Power Leadership Summit. It's going to be amazing. And before we go into the next part here, JB, actually, I got a question for you. Just if you can give our audience members just 1 to 2 minutes, just quick high level, tell us about your career in solar. How did you get to where you're at now?
Sure. Well, I'm Jonathan Brunasso, man on a mission to always be the best version of myself, and that applies to business as well. So I started solar in 2014, 2015. So I'm coming on my 10th year now in solar. I was introduced by a friend from Verizon Wireless, and she said, you have to check out this solar Elon company. So I quickly became a top performer at Solar City Tesla. And then wouldn't you know, a year or two later, they were going to fire me for 1 month not hitting my quota. So I tried my hand at real estate, did some trainings, met some people, and that was tough. Dried up, and I went to Sunrun Corporate. I did really well there. I was one of the top performers at Sunrun Corporate. I met Lynn George, the CEO. I learned how to build a referral-based business, turn off company leads, networking, social media, digital door knocking, events, BNI networking, referral partners, ambassadors, call lists, you name it. And so I started training on that, and I did really well there. And then this little thing called COVID was happening, and power came after me in 2019. So I saw a better way. I saw the eXp Realty, multiple income streams, stock options, virtual business, 23 states, better equipment, better prices, team building, everything that my life prepared me for to that moment. And in 2020, my mentor said, you need to make the switch. You need to have your own business. You don't want to be doing what you're doing in 5 years. You don't want to be a manager. The move is obvious. And it was scary. It was a scary time to quit a stable W-2 job to go all in with power. Since then, I've done 480 contracts. The team has done 7,000 to 8,000 contracts in just the last 4 to 5 years. Power's paid out $1 billion of revenue. And we do it at the lower price point for the homeowner while rewarding the rep the most with our cost of goods model. I've won 3 cars, being the top performer in the summer sales contest, multiple 7-figure earner, but it's rewarding to have leaders grow and to give other leaders a 7-figure commission earner's jacket on the team.
I was going to say, how many people on your team have hit 7 figures?
Probably 4 or 5. Shout out to Cynthia Alvidrez, Jordan Shaw, Chris Brunasso for just getting theirs in Florida.
Wow.
But there's probably 4 or 5 or 6 now, and a few others that are soon to come. And like we were talking about earlier, weaving in philanthropy, health, wellness in a grounded, humility way, with always improving. It's been a wild ride. So
Beautiful.
that's my story.
Thank you for sharing, brother. That was
course.
awesome. Yeah, and it's always a good sign of a leader in how many other leaders can you grow, right? So that's incredible that you've helped that many people make 7 figures, right? That's amazing. So,
Thank you.
Congrats on that. Yeah, and then so Jonathan Charles Wilson, for those who don't know me, this is my 12th year in the energy industry. I got started in 2013 as a building analysts with the Building Performance Institute. Basically, it means that I go into a house and test its efficiency, do a duct blaster, blower door, infrared camera, flow hood, measure all the different aspects of building science in a home, and tell you quantifiably where you can make it more efficient, right? So I started with Go Green, energy efficiency really as the original mission, efficiency first, and then solar. Back then, in 2013 to 2017, that first chunk of my career, it was predominantly energy efficiency, and about 1 in 15, 1 in 20 were solar deals. That was during the net metering 1.0 days in California. For those who know, we would sell 2 to 3 kilowatt, 4 kilowatt systems to shave off the top tiers of expensive power because tier 1 was so cheap. Solar didn't really make a lot of sense financially. And then, as I transitioned, actually during that time, I actually met Mike and Susan.
My parents.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jonathan's parents. You had just started, a month or so into Solar City, and I sold them solar. So
Shut up.
So that was awesome, and got to meet Jonathan and just kind of stay connected. Saw you on social media, saw your success at Solar City, and then subsequently at Sunrun. And then kind of fast forwarding to 2018, I went off on my own and started to build this Go Green vision of starting my own business. At the time, me and the owner of the company I worked with, we had different visions, so kind of split, went different ways. I did that for a handful of months, and I was running out of reserve money. And I go, I need to get back into sales, like a lot of us do. Whenever we need more money, I need to go out and sell more. That's always a skill set that I have. And I ended up finding Vivint Solar. So found Vivint Solar in April of 2018. Joined there, did my first 60 days, did really well. And then after 2 months in, our team merged, Inland Empire team merged with the Riverside team. And I got put under Matt Crowther's squad and under his leadership. And I remember we were sitting in a Cafe Rio eating burritos with the Happy Squad. And we're sharing ideas. And Matt starts talking about his referral program. And I literally sat across from you and I said, you just put at least 6 figures into my pocket. And I'm proud to say it's actually turned into 7 figures. And super grateful for just that moment in time. Some of those times you get those lucky chances where I just got placed with Matt and really developed an awesome friendship over the past 6.5, almost 7 years now. Got full into solar batteries, did over 7 figures in income, and found out about power, kind of to weave this in 2020. We sat down when you were still at Sunrun. You kind of had 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
That's right.
You remember we were at the Corkies on the border of Claremont on Baseline and
Upland, yeah.
and Upland, Claremont. And I remember that day really vividly because I just was going through some personal stuff and we were sitting down, we were having breakfast. And you said to me, I'm kind of considering this company Power. I think their model is really interesting. Maybe you should take a look at it. You were still a Sunrun. And I think you were just about to go meet with Lynn Jurek, the CEO, because you had won this big competition and you were, I think, the top referral agent for 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And I saw your rise there, and I ended up joining Power in January 2022. Just put a couple cash deals in, wasn't fully bought in, and then finally went all in this year on my birthday, February 29th. So went all in, started up Go Green at the same time Matt was transitioning, and now here we are, really building Go Green and this mission and all these things we're talking about to the next level. So that's a bit about me, and go for it, Matt.
And you're already building a team that's earning tens of thousands of dollars on deals, single deals, multiple deals. I mean,
setting records, disrupting people.
Yeah, hats off to you guys and what you're accomplishing. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I love that. And a little bit of my background. So I've been in solar for 12 years, started in 2013, January 2013. So 12 years exactly in January. And I've had a wild solar journey. Our last podcast that we did, I dived deeper into it, so I won't go into the full thing. But I've lived in 6 states selling solar. And started in Colorado and then moved to New York. That's where I had my biggest year in solar, did 97 installs, all self-gen, all referral based. I was 95% referral based that year, and then moved from New York to Texas, and then Texas to Arizona, Arizona to California. And California, I didn't ever want to move to California for solar, actually. I was very opposed to it because I'm from Colorado, and Colorado people have an issue with California people, to be honest. I think that they're just jealous that they don't get the ocean close to them. So I think that's really what it is. But so I moved to California, was with Vivint Solar, turned into Sunrun, made millions of dollars working with Sunrun and Vivint Solar as a top 1% rep, as well as a top manager in the 2nd to 3rd largest team in all of California, and helped run that team, did door knocking trainings, referral trainings. And one thing I wanted to add is that Jonathan, he was one of the top reps on my squad that I was running, and we had a couple other people that were referral based in my squad that I was able to help teach the referral system and different referral methods and models. And that's really, I think, been my specialty, is helping people to build a referral business, to commit to creating a really good referral system that customers can buy into and that they're excited about. And so with Power, I actually heard about Power back in 2016 and considered joining back then. And really, it was on my mind, but I had a couple hesitations at that moment. The last 12 months, it's become perfectly clear that I wanted to build my business with this model because there was some stuff that happened in my office with Sunrun that ended up becoming clear that I needed to part ways. And I built a good majority of that team over the years. And then when I left, it wasn't something that I was able to even, have any right to. And when I heard about Power's business that you can build and where your team could never be taken from you, it was very attractive to me because I thought if I want to build solar for another 5 years, I've been doing this for 12 years, if I'm going to give this another 5 years of my life, I want to build something that can't be taken away from me. And so that was the main reason I decided to join Power and to go all in with this and to really, commit to a different business model, but a business model that I believe is better and has more longevity and can create more freedom, right? I love to travel. I've traveled all over the world. Traveling is one of my main passions in life. And with what I see with the business, if you build a successful business organization, you can travel. Your brother, your twin, he proves that that's possible because he travels the world and is still making a amazing income through the business model that we have here. And so that's the one thing that I would just tell everyone listening to this is that it's something where I think that the business model is shifting a little bit. And I think that people are more and more open to solar in a different way, right? Like the whole corporate structure of building your team and going with the corporate umbrella and all the corporate structures and rules. I think that it's a little outdated. And I think that that is quickly shifting. And the more people I talk to, the more interested people are in building a business and being more of an entrepreneur in solar, as opposed to still tied to corporate structures and quotas and the way that the old model worked.
Yeah, no, and I agree. It's like a lot of the reason why I think people join a company like Power is because of growth, because they've kind of maybe had a year or two or however many, and they've built some foundation for sales. They've kind of like the industry and they want to kind of go to that next level. And that's really what I've experienced, a big reason why people would make the switch. And we'll talk more about Power and go a little bit deeper at the end of this podcast with you, JB. But let's switch it up and just go in a different direction here for a second. So 2025 is right around the corner, right? And all of us have teams. We all have organizations that we're managing and growing and have plans for. But what is maybe one or two things that you're most excited about in 2025 for your solar business? And we'll start with you, JB.
Yeah, 2025 is already here because especially when we do projects and recruit, it's already going into next year. So the time is now. I think I'm really excited for like Matt was saying, there's a new way of solar that's emerging right now. Training, different incentives, battery technology. Is it loan? Is it cash? Is it lease? Are you even allowed to sell all of those different options at a fair price and beat your competitors with a nationwide company? And so there's a lot of things happening. But if you take a step back for a second, John, it's like SunPower went bankrupt this year. Titan went bankrupt this year. Like half of the top 10, 15 companies are gone. And so the headwinds and the constriction and the regulation that's coming and the new way of doing solar and setting deals and being a true consultant and being educated or having mentors, these are all of the things that Power was born with. Our virtual model that is attracted to people, building referral-based businesses, getting off the doors, like creative lead gen, building a business, residual income, retirement that you get to keep. So I think with the new way of doing solar, what's emerging this next year is we're going to get back to a normalcy that we were at, 2 years ago before some of the headwinds. And I'm just excited because with the battery technology, the domestic content we're seeing with TPO leasing PPA options now, price points that we can sell at, utility grid prices continue to go up. So we're finding grid parity exists. More states are going to be able to open. And with our model, we're able to actually bring in installers that are hurting right now. We're finding that there's just so many different team building and recruiting going on with our platform right now. And then when you look at the different in-person events, we got a leadership summit coming up in the next few months in San Diego. That's a power corporate event. We have September, probably October. We have our annual in-person convention. So I'm just excited to do all the groundwork, the trainings, the in-persons, with this new way of doing solar and with these modalities and training, masterminding, health, wellness that we get to do. So it's game on.
I love it.
Yeah, get ready, buckle up.
Yeah, no, and I'll say a little bit here, and then I'm gonna get your take on this, Matt. But I'm really excited, yeah, to be a part of, Power's technology. I think, we'll get into some of the specifics of maybe what Power is or some misconceptions later with you, JB. But one of the things that I realized this year is that Power is really the most advanced tech platform in the industry. And once I realized that's really what it is, the tech and just what I've seen since March when I've been a part of it, there's been so many new changes. Leadership listens to the sellers, listens to the feedback. We're heard. And that's really unheard of in the solar space where, a lot of times these executive decisions from a big company or maybe a small company doesn't have the resources to maybe, build some of these different things out. So there's kind of, pluses and minuses to the big and the small, but just to be able to be a part of a company where you can influence the direction of this technology. And, some of the changes that I've seen, to kind of, piggyback on what you said is, really transparent process and structure around, when do you get paid? How does this happen? Some of the reducing of friction around communicating with installers directly, having the best of both worlds of having some of the best local installers while simultaneously offering, the best, nationwide finance products, nationwide products, big names, Tesla, things like that, being able to offer and kind of bring all that together and to be a true pro and expert, it's incredible. And so that's exciting. And then also to say, what you said of the events, those are the most exciting thing. Like, whether it's the Future Power Leadership Summit here or the summit coming up in February or other events that we're going to have, those are the most fun. It's like we spend a lot of time in the day-to-day just kind of grinding, making calls, being on trainings, and just to get to like unplug for a second and plug into an awesome community is what gets me excited. So anyways, how about you, Matt?
I love that. What I was thinking while you two were talking is that there are solar veterans that have been in solar 10 years, 5 years, that are truly thinking about what is best for them with their business right now. And I did not make this decision quickly. I really didn't. I didn't make the decision quickly to join Power and to build my business in this method. And that's because I've been at 7 solar companies in my 12-year career. Like, this wasn't a rash decision. And there's a lot of other people that are in a similar boat that are solar veterans that are looking for a home that can grow, that are looking for a home that doesn't just shut them out and stick to their corporate agendas and push those agendas forward regardless of what sellers or what managers are saying. This is an organization that I've already seen has a humble leadership that is truly open and wanting to grow creatively and efficiently. And that's really what was most attractive to me when I started to get to know you, John, and also when I started hearing more and more about the CEO, Jonathan Budd, and everything that he's doing and listening to him present and speak and hearing the brilliance in his mind and how he's running a organization. What I'm most excited about is showing people the leadership that we really are offering here. And this is a lot of leadership just in this room in the solar space. But beyond that, we even have leaders that are doing really cool things in solar that people don't know about, that are aligning with Go Green, that are aligning with what we are building in this world. And really, I believe that solar needs the right leaders. Solar needs the right leaders to get to the next stage. And for someone who's listening to this, who's thinking like, maybe I do need a shift in leadership. Maybe I do need leaders that are more open-minded to listening to what's going on and that I can build with and can build organically with. That's really the invitation. And I just am so excited to continue building and growing. The recruiting side of the solar business has always been one of my favorite parts of the business. You know, I've always been a top salesman, and I love meeting with customers and working with referrals and, you know, helping people to earn their vacations with my referral programs and stuff like that. That's always been a passion of mine, is giving back to my customers. But more than that, I'm excited to show people the way, and show people the way with leaders that I know are going the way that I want to go. Yeah. And are going the direction that I want to go.
Yeah, we've got so many amazing leaders coming on to this podcast, really cool things coming up. And so before we jump into the next question, I just wanted to say, yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges, especially this past year with some of those bankruptcies and leadership, is a word let's call transparency, right? So transparency in leadership is something I haven't really experienced a lot of, and I've tried to do my best as a leader to demonstrate that and lead in that way. I've experienced that from each of you and from Power's leadership, and that's kind of rare, unfortunately. I hate to say it, but I think it's rare in the solar space, where you have a lot of, you know, people trying to keep it together, right? Put on a good face, to put on a good representation of what maybe is actually behind the curtains is, you know, shit's happening, right? Things are falling apart. And we've seen that where, you know, finance partners are not funding things in the timelines that they said they would. People are breaking integrity of their word and not paying people as they said they would, or not paying people at all, or, you know, these things that we call shady practices or that give solar a bad name. A lot of that's happened the past 12 to 18 months. All of us have heard the stories, experienced it. I'm sure anyone listening has been in solar's experienced it, and it's unfortunate. But anytime there's a challenge, there's an opportunity, right? And so with that said, if someone's listening, and, you know, I'll start with you, JB. If someone's listening right now, maybe the past year they've been really discouraged. Maybe their numbers are low. They haven't sold what they wanted to sell. Maybe they've even left solar in general. Maybe they pivoted to something else, and they're listening in because they're just curious, and they're going, you know what? I miss solar. I love being able to help the planet, help people, help, you know, and I made good money and all that kind of stuff, and they've left. What would you say to maybe offer some encouragement to someone like that?
Yeah, it has been tough for quite a few people the last 12 months, 18 months, depending on what markets you're in. We recently just did a Rediscover Power, you know, event, and we went over a lot of the new exciting things that are coming up. You know, there's quite a few, like I mentioned, and reasons why that you should really take a look at it. But, you know, big picture, utility rates are going up. If you believe the planet's warming, fire events, you get to have the solar trifecta. The homeowner wins, the planet wins, and we win. And when you look at utility rates climbing, you see the utility prices going up. You see electric vehicles everywhere now. This industry is going to double. It's only at 5 million residential homes in the United States. That's only about 6% of the United States. All estimates say we can get to 10 million homes by 2031 in 6 to 7 years. So yes, there's been some refinement, some regulation, some headwinds. Maybe you're in California or other markets, but there's new loans, there's interest rate cuts, there's battery technology, there's a thing called a backup switch, there's new domestic content, rebates coming, and lease and PPA products, that's newer pricings. People want this. And at Power, we have trainings every day, multiple days. We have a brand new training Tuesdays and Wednesdays, Power Blitz, where you can jump on and actually get the activities, the text messages, the scripts, the images to build your business with accountability. And we're setting up our business plan this week as well. We can help you do that. So there's the tools there, and you have some of the best referral partners in the solar industry. So just, my goodness, plug into how to work with referral partners, how to build a business, how to do BNI networking, get referrals. There's just so many ways. It's do you want it bad enough? This rocket ship's going to continue, and there's just so many reasons why I'm optimistic. So gas pedal down all the way to Las Vegas convention. Summer, it's going to rocket more. So let's do the work now to prepare for that.
Dude, I'm encouraged. That was awesome. How about you, Matt? What do you got to say?
Oh, I love this. I'm just feeling like so much momentum and energy right now. And I feel like solar really has gotten like hit in the face pretty hard. Um, Maybe even down for like, it's like, okay, is it getting up? Right? Like, and I was tempted to leave solar. You know this. I told you this. I was there earlier in 2024, and I really felt like I cannot leave solar in this state. like I need to help keep solar moving forward. And with my leadership and expertise, I really feel like I'm going to be able to help bring into solar the right leaders to continue keeping this rocket ship going. Because like there's moments where I'll think like, solar is maybe in a little bit of trouble right this second. Big companies went bankrupt, which was pretty alarming. And they're raised a lot of red flags and uncertainty in the industry. But I truly believe that solar is going to make it through because people need what we have. Utility rates are going crazy. They're going up market over market, and people want stability. And that's what solar offers. And on the referral side, one of the things I was thinking, in 12 years, 780 installs in my career, getting close to the 800 mark. And the majority of those were all through referrals. And one of the things that I love about what Jonathan and I are creating here with Go Green is that we are going to have some of the best referral trainings in the industry that will be exclusive to Go Green, that will be exclusive to what we're offering. And we brainstorm on these things all the time. We're constantly talking about how we can help our reps to be the best referral salesman of all time, right? And so someone who, let's say, has been knocking doors and is wanting to get off the doors, they can come into our organization and we will help teach them how to get to 100% referral base within 12 to 18 months. Because I know that we can do it. I've done it a dozen of times in my industry, and we are going to even make the process of doing that even easier with our tools and our training and our technology that we are creating as our own enterprise and organization. So like, I'm just super excited about all of those things coming, and you can hear it in my voice. It's like, I believe that solar, even though I was going to leave it, I believe that solar has a really healthy run ahead of it. The next 10 years are very bright for the solar industry. There will be hundreds and thousands of millionaires that are made in the solar industry in the next 10 years. And for those listening to this who maybe did leave solar or are thinking about where they want their home to be, just have that confidence that there is going to be this next wave of abundance flowing into the solar industry. It's coming. We're like pretty much on the brink of it right this second.
Yeah, absolutely. It is about to take off. And just to give some more context for why it's about to take off, right? Instead of it just being like, oh, cool, this is exciting. We're just saying this stuff. We're not just making this ish up, right? And the reason why is that for those who don't know, the Inflation Reduction Act was signed into law in September of 2022, but a lot of those laws didn't actually go into effect and get like finalized until this year. So we've already seen some of the biggest providers in the industry in the past few months shift their entire financing structure to get that additional 10% towards the federal tax incentive, right? It was 30%. They extended all the way to 2032, but on top of that, there's a 10% kicker that kicks in for domestic product, products that's made here in the United States of America. Also, some people are afraid of, the recent election with Trump. What's going to happen? Is it going to threaten the industry? I think at this point, the consensus is pretty clear that that's not going to happen. A lot of our manufacturers are in deep red states. They're, providing tens of thousands of jobs to people. It's good for America. It's a pro-America policy. So we don't have any, real concern about that. And most of these finance providers haven't even pivoted. Most of them actually pivot fully in January Q1 of 2025. Once that goes into full effect in 2025, we're on the next rocket ship ride up. So I think we have a lot of reasons to be excited, a lot of things coming up in the solar space. Next question I wanted to jump into is, what's something unique that you're bringing to the solar space this year? And I'll start off on this one. So I got some passion about this. So one of the things that we were talking about right before we started the podcast is the thing I see in solar so often is solar companies really trying to elevate their brand, right? Whether it's power, go green, sun, right? You name it, whatever the corporate brand is, they're trying to promote the brand. Now, there's a place for that, but the real value, I think, and the opportunity is to promote the brand of the seller, right? My thing is, companies have great onboarding processes. Oh, you come in, you make sales, you get swag, you win a trip, you do some cool things. All that's awesome. But what's your exit strategy, right? What's the plan? What is a company that you're talking to, a leader that you're talking to that's saying, hey, if you decide to leave us in 12 months from now, in 2 years from now, what are you leaving with, right? And clearly outlining that. And one of the things that I want to be able to say that, hey, if you were a part of Go Green in our organization, is that you left with your personal brand being established if you don't have one, or massively improved if you already have a personal brand. Because you leave, you get to take that, your social media presence, the content that you put out, helping you be more thoughtful about the creative side. For you guys already know, but those who don't know me, my dad is a video producer. So I grew up with this kind of parent teaching me everything, kind of a critical eye. Oh, that's a good production quality. That's not. This is good, right? And he's an editor, producer. And so seeing that, I see a huge opportunity for solar reps and companies, but really just the individual reps, to elevate their messaging, elevate their brand. And I'm really excited to bring that to our organization, hopefully far beyond that. So how about either of you? What's something you're excited to bring?
Can I touch on what you just said? Because this was a conversation that we had a couple months ago where we were kind of making the roadmap to success in our eyes, the roadmap to success in solar. And one of the big things that we were talking about is for our reps in our organization, part of that personal branding and helping them elevate their messaging, elevate their social media, is that in Go Green, we're going to have a incentive that our reps can earn as they hit install milestones, where we will actually be essentially funding a branding package for them, where we will hire the film crew. We will basically help them to get really badass content for themselves to put on their own social media that's branded as them, the seller, as them, the solar professional and consultant, so that it's not tied to Go Green, but it's tied to them as the seller.
Yeah, and they own it, right? So if they go do something else, they have something to take with them and go start another venture. Maybe it's solar, maybe it's something else, but now they have a professional image that they get to take. And I just don't see anybody else doing that. So I'm stoked.
No, exactly. Because the entrepreneurial side of this business that we are helping people create is your business is your brand. And so for me, myself, I'm an aspiring author. I am writing a book right now, close to finish with that, figuring out when that book is going to come into the world. But I'm building my own branding of the Matt Crowther brand. And part of that brand is solar salesman, solar educator, solar trainer. And then other things are in that brand as well. But for anyone that is working for a company that owns the brand, they're not able to leave with much when they leave. And if they do leave, they have to start over from scratch. And it's like, oh, you're with a different company now. Okay, cool. But with this, we actually have built our business around a white label branding anyways. So many of the people that are super successful in the power business are people that are branding themselves as the face and doing it so well, and they are able to expand their solar business through that brand. And so that was one of the big like perks that we were thinking about, is like, hey, when someone hits this install milestone, which wouldn't be like 100 installs, it would be closer to like 20 installs with our organization, that they get their branding package, that they're able to start really branding their own business. And so these are the type of ideas that we're thinking about at Go Green, and that we're excited to implement on high levels on the leadership side.
I love it. Yeah. How about you, JB? Is there anything unique or something that you want to maybe excited about, or maybe even haven't shared, or anything that you're doing that's going to be making you kind of stand out from other solar leaders?
Yeah. That's awesome branding package, by the way. I want a branding package. Go follow us on all the channels, social medias, take our content, go for it, guys. To answer the question about 2025, I'm going to kind of lean into a few pillars, but I'm going to kind of say chop wood, carry water. And what that means is like getting to the basics of our core principles and what makes us successful and stand out, right? And the way I see that is we provide resources and power just has an abundance of resources. So I look at a few categories like training. We're going to be doing exclusive training. We're going to have in-person training. We're going to be meeting at installer warehouses across the country, Riverside. We're going to be doing leadership summits. We're going to be doing in-person conventions and Power Day and training in corporate headquarters, 360 Zoom stage. Trainings are important, and all day long on Zoom we have trainings. And then you combine that with the in-person events, and that's a lot where the magic happens. Power's marketing, their pay. They just announced a clean bonus $500 payout. They're paying faster as well within 72 hours. And a little bit, behind the scenes for you guys, one of the top leaders at Power is working on a partnership with one of the largest retail big box companies in the United States. And so that's exciting because that's just the start. It'll be one of the second partnerships that we do for people out there to go and do lead gen and make money and talk to people and have conversations. So that's really exciting. And then I look at contests as one of the other pillars. Like when you want incentives, you want contests, we're going to have contests. Go Green's going to have contests. And then Power has contests. There's going to be a contest to come here in Tulum in 2026. There's a summer contest where they always give away a car and prize. We have a winter contest going on right now. So we always have the incentives as well, and the trainings, the in-person events. So you know what? Chop wood, carry water, lean into the 4 income streams that Power has and everything they have. So that's my answer.
I love it. That was beautiful. Yeah. And I think, anybody listening, maybe you're in solar, but maybe you're, I would invite you to share this with somebody who's not in solar. Maybe there's somebody who you've thought about bringing into solar, you want to share this opportunity with. I invite you to share this video, and really to segue from that, what would be a piece of advice that you would give to somebody who's considering getting into solar? Maybe somebody who's new to solar. Maybe they've been doing it for less than 6 months, or they're just starting, and maybe they got this video from someone that shared the video, and they're watching this, and they're like, "Wow, this sounds exciting," or whatever their thought process is, and they're thinking about it. What would you say is just 1, maybe 2 pieces of advice? We'll start with you, JB. What's some advice you would give?
Oh boy. Yeah, especially if you're new listening to this for the first time, considering joining solar, I think going back to just strong leadership, right? You can hear the passion and the expertise and the success here. So whether it's us or someone else, just make sure you align yourself with proven leadership and mentors. People that have sold 29 deals in a month, hundreds of deals in their lifetime, in-person expert. Make sure you have the right options too, whether it's purchase, lease, loans, ownership. You're getting the right training. You want to look at them giving you those pieces of the business and then letting you keep the business and brand yourself and continue to have that revenue share. For me, it was making sure there's multiple income streams. But So align yourself with the right leadership, the right tools, the right training, lead gen activities, the right company. Ethics and integrity are integral in what we do at Power. And so we align with people and professionals. The caliber here, you know, Matt, you actually reminded me that I have my master's in business administration. Sometimes I forget that.
Right.
So, but the caliber of the professionals here on the panel today and just the countless hundreds in Power is very inspiring. So I would say do that and jump in. Like, we're not requiring you to go create an LLC or sign an exclusive contract or pay all this money. Like, jump in, do the activities, chop wood, carry water, work with a good mentor, and shadow them. That's one of the best things I did when I started my business, was just shadow, listen, and observe the top closers and just take notes and copy it. It's duplicatable, and we have all the systems to do it. And this industry, I'm telling you, it's the right time because it's only gonna take off from here, so there's no better time.
Dude, that was so good. How can I follow that? I'm going to go next just because I want to make Matt's job the hardest of all. Okay. So
I'm up to the challenge.
yeah,
You got this.
This is the I mean, you said it all. I'm like, shoot, what do I even say? I mean, I'll just give some piece of advice that I would give to anybody who I'll just say has been doing it for a little bit, maybe a couple months, 6 months, maybe even less than a year. If that's you, and you've been in the industry during this past 12 months, first of all, you are building some great muscle right now. You're building some great resilience, and maybe you don't even know it, right? You're in a hard time in the industry. So I would say don't give up, right? And so many people in our industry have left our industry in the past 12, 18 months. And it's been so hard to see. It's been discouraging, if I'm honest. It's been really challenging to see people who've done great things just walk away. And so, you know, sticking to it and sticking with it and committing to it is a big deal. So don't give up, you know, when you're knocking those doors, getting those rejections, just keep going. Because the beautiful thing is the longer you do this job, you know, it's momentum, right? It starts to grow. I think, Matt, you said it. It's like when you build that referral tree, you start to water it, it starts to grow. It starts growing out of control. You literally get referrals and you can't stop it. People are like, I want that $1,000. They're texting you, hey, when am I getting my 1,000? I got that on this trip, literally.
Nice.
One of my clients saying that. So don't give up. I'll leave it at that. What about you, Matt? What do you have to say?
I love that. So one of the things that I would say is there's so much abundance out there in the world. Like, what I was reminded during this retreat, which I led and facilitated, and it was a little bit of a step into the uncomfortable, you know, zone for me. The comfort zone was like over there, and I was way over there. And I really felt that there's so much abundance out there for those of you who have, you know, let's say never made over $100,000 in a year. It's possible. I'm just telling you that it is. For those of you who have never made over $500,000 in a year, it's possible. I know that it is. And in solar, it's actually easier to get there than I think any other sales industry out there. And, you know, I'll share my biggest year was $800,000 that I've made in solar. And it's kind of crazy money. But when you think about what the value that we're bringing to the world is, we are literally helping people to change the way that they use and receive power. And we are helping a huge energetic shift, not just in, you know, fossil fuel to solar energy, but also from one paradigm to another energy paradigm. And anyone that creates that type of influence and value is going to get paid very well for doing so. And so one thing that I will share is that your life is only as big as your dreams are. And I truly believe that having big dreams is a gift, and you need to be around people that will help you dream bigger. And what I can tell you is that the three of us, I guarantee, will help you dream bigger. And so someone that wants to make more money, someone that wants to change their life, this is the place to do it. And it's not even about money. I was sharing with a friend here at this retreat that, I kind of had a little bit of a quarter life crisis, and, went out of solar, tried other things, did other things, and came back into it with a very, very new perspective and a lot of humility, because 2024 kind of beat me up a little bit. And because of that, I'm approaching the next phase with a lot more reverence, because it's not about making a lot of money again. I've done that before. It's about creating a lot of impact in the world and helping people to change their lives, helping people to become better versions of themselves. And that is at such a core, deep level for me that I know that anyone that comes into our leadership is going to experience that deep growth because of how important it is to the three of us here. So that's what I'll add.
And I'll add this. So let's actually add that. I want to hear this from you too, JB. You asked that question, that what is it that drives you beyond the money, right? But beyond the finances. And you got me thinking about that. And so I wanted to share my piece, which was, I wrote down, what matters to me more than money is having peak state experiences, joy, ecstasy, like fun, excitement with the people that I love and who love me. That is in one sentence what I want my life to be about, is to have those peak state experiences with people that I love and who love me. And so that's way more than money could ever do. We've started to create some of that magic this weekend. And again, like you said, there's just so many more people that we're going to be able to share that with. But curious for you too, JB, beyond the money, what is it that motivates you?
That was awesome, guys. First of all, I mean, we get paid by the size of the problems that we solve. You perfectly eloquently said that. And you're absolutely right, John. It's not about the money. When I, meet guys that are 100 million net worth and their life 10 years ago was on the wrong path, or they divorced, or they were drinking, or their body was wrong, they realize, wow, when I lead from mission and purpose and helping others and serving others, my life, I show up differently and I have fulfillment. If you want to make money, besides looking at where the government's spending their money, Green New Deal, Inflation Reduction Act, if you want to make a lot of money, you need the right systems and you need the right leaders. But if you can lead others and help others and serve others, I think that will bring the most fulfillment. And you nailed it, John, because doing this since 2019 and in power, I've been able to do this with friends, family, my twin brother, my longtime friend that sold my parents solar. We get to travel on trips. I get to make hundreds of thousands or multiple seven figures. And then I get to give those jackets to my friends and my family. Sometimes I have to look around and I just want to tell you, like Matt said, that power and go green, this leadership does offer that. So dream big.
I love it. And I'll just speak to you, JB. Your level of service and commitment to service, and I know you won't talk about this because you're a humble guy, but truly, I have seen this man step up and bring service and contribution opportunities to power, to his friends, to his family, and invite those people in his life that he loves and cares about into service with him. And I just want to acknowledge you, brother. That is beautiful. Keep doing that work.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. And I wanted to actually pivot here, kind of finish up this podcast and ask you a few questions about power, since you've been with power for, since 2019, essentially, and ask, some of the questions that we get. I'll kick us off here. When I tell people about power, some people have heard about it. A lot of people have heard about it. There's this conception of power being an MLM. When somebody comes to you and says, hey, I thought power is an MLM, what do you say?
Yeah. So I like to answer that. That's a good question, fair question. I like to answer that in a few different ways. Power has been around since 2012. They were actually just a lead gen company with a multi-level networking structure, just giving leads to like Solar City and other companies. And they realized that those companies weren't so good. So the model was very heavy in multi-level networking at that time. In 2019, Power announced what's called cost of goods. And they realized, hey, if we can actually be the general contractor's license, do this in a decentralized platform and do it better. So if you're asking if there's a team bonus or override component or revenue share component, There absolutely is. And I'd like to start off by saying I've worked at Best Buy, Verizon Wireless. You guys worked at Sunrun. Wherever you work, there's probably a bonus to find friends and family, to find talent. You know, whether it's $1,500 or whether it's $500 or 6 months of revenue. And if you worked at Sunrun corporate like I did, my supervisor got bonused off of my team's performance. His manager got bonused off of the managers under him, and his regional manager got bonused off of his district managers. So at the end of the day, we only get paid when we sell solar, period. And I'm very proud because we give better equipment and better pricing than most nationwide companies. I've seen the data from lenders. They literally say, you guys are at this price per watt, other people are at this price per watt. So that's one thing I'm really proud of. And then secondly, because of our cost of goods model, we're giving more compensation to the rep than 90% of other solar companies out there. We don't require you to buy lotions or potions and store them and sell them to your friends and family. We only get paid if we sell solar. And I actually like that your leadership has a vested interest in your success. So it's not out of your commission, it's out of the 30% that Power keeps, and only half of that gives back to the form of revenue share. I don't know about you guys, but most solar companies or teams or this company, that company, they generally have some sort of incentive for recruiting. So our model has led to explosive growth, being a top 10 nationwide company, Inc. 5000, 4 years in a row, because that is inherent in our platform decentralized model. And that was the vision of Jonathan Budd. And we're making the biggest dent in sustainable energy faster than most any other company because of it.
And I'll say one more thing to that. I love that. And I saw that right away. And then I'm curious, Matt, if you have any questions for JB. But one of the things I saw is that it wasn't a handshake deal. I didn't come to you and say, hey, JB, I'm thinking about power. And you said, well, you know, you're a special leader. I'm going to give you this revenue share if you build a team. Right. And I see that all too often in these companies where, you know, and I can't fault the leaders too much. They're trying to do their best. Right. I always believe that people are trying to do the best with what they have. Right. And so they say, hey, you know what? I'm going to give you this compensation. And I just didn't like those kind of back closet handshake deal, secret kind of agreements. And everyone has a different comp structure, and this person has this and that person has that. And you're signing non-disclosure agreements and non-competes and all these types of legal binds to just, you know, kind of keep the corporate entrapments. It really left me with a kind of icky, disgusting feeling inside. And, you know, part of the reason that was why I stuck with Sunrun, because I liked the corporate structure in the sense that there was some certainty, predictability, some sense of fairness about it. I like that. There's things I didn't like about Sunrun, obviously. But with Power, everybody has the same comp structure, whether from the top to the bottom, everyone's on the same plan. So I love that. And Matt, how about you? Do you have any questions for JB?
I have one statement and then one question. So the statement is something that I have noticed over the past few months since I've been really building this. And I think that the thing that's so interesting is that when I think about the team that I ran, which was at its peak 150 door-to-door reps that I was one of 5 managers with, and I had a piece of that equity in that group, that leadership group. And then if someone really built a big squad, then they become a squad leader and they would get a piece of the equity in the group. But if someone just brought in 2 or 3 people, then they would get nothing. And that's the truth. And what I saw was that when I could talk to someone and say, hey, if you come into solar and you bring 2 or 3 of your friends that succeed with us, you actually get a nice chunk of their success, which is beautiful You don't have to go and build a squad of 15 people and hit a certain metric every quarter to keep that equity and to keep that bonus structure quarter over quarter. And if you have a bad quarter, then you're fired and you're demoted out of that position. Like, there was so much corporate structure around all of that stuff that really bothered me. And it actually caused some issues over the years of being a manager in that corporate model. And so when I saw a different model that actually was a share revenue, a revenue share, it was very, very attractive to me once I understood it past the misconceptions. And so what would be your way to help people get out of their own head and kind of get out of those misconceptions that they have around the past model? Because I still hear people that are still living in that past model.
Right. Well, I think, one of the easiest ways, number one, watch this video and see the caliber of the leadership. You can definitely watch a podcast with Jonathan Budd. He just filmed one with the founder of SolarCon, Jake Hess, which is amazing. And then when you look at our impact reports that we have per year, like Power's done over 34,000 installations lifetime. And the number of deals, the number of leaders that sell deals here, the price points that we sell it at, and how strong our partner relationships are. Q Cells is inviting us to their events, inviting us to CED, SunGage, other lenders in this space, Goodleap. They're truly vying for our business because they see the magic of what's going on. The battery manufacturer. So from lots of different components, I would just say do your research, do your due diligence. We even have a crowd fundraise right now where all of our books and financials and millions and tens of millions of dollars in the bank, they're on the table right now. And when you look at the Inc. 5000 4 years in a row, there's just so much credibility behind it. So at the end of the day, I like to say when you've made it, you have haters. And especially if you're on the Solar Pro, Solar Sales Talks Facebook groups with people that aren't licensed and doing unethical business and keyboard warriors posting anonymously. Like, if you're a mature professional, it's just noise. Do your research, have conversations, watch one of the Power Explain videos, jump on a call with these guys. And I feel like you'll be led to the right decision. Yeah.
I love that.
Cool. Yeah, that was an excellent answer. I think, just to wrap it up and put a pretty bow on it, what I keep hearing is transparency, right? Power, with the WeFunder campaign and open books. I mean, how many solar companies right now, if we're honest, would have the courage, again, to do that, especially at this time in the solar industry? I think if we're honest, a lot of these leaders running these companies are just trying to make it, payroll to payroll, right? To pay their teams, to pay their installers, to pay everyone that's on the, and it's tough. It's tough out there right now. And so to have a company that's willing to, put it all out there, to be courageous, to be transparent, that's the kind of company that I want to be aligned with. And I'm super excited for this coming year, 2025. So if you guys are watching this, please like, share, subscribe. We've got a ton of more content coming. Thank you, gentlemen, for being on. Matt, JB, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. We'll see you in Tulum 2026.
Let's go.